Inside an empty classroom, a student named Yoji enters with a look of slight confusion. He identifies himself as being from Class 1-2, but he wonders why he has been called to this specific location at this time. His confusion is quickly met by a voice belonging to a girl named Kanan. She thanks him for coming and explains that she has been waiting for him, claiming that she called out to his very soul. With a cold and determined air, she informs him that she has decided to devour him. Kanan reveals her true nature, undergoing a transformation that causes dark horns to sprout from her head and a slender tail to emerge. She introduces herself as Kanan the Gourmet, the daughter of Beelzebub, the archdevil of gluttony. She commands him to prepare himself, referring to him as a lower life form that she intends to eat. The story shifts back in time to the underworld, where Kanan is speaking with her father, Beelzebub. He is a massive, doting figure who offers her a seat and food, but Kanan declines. She admits that she has lost her appetite because nothing in their world tastes good to her anymore. Concerned for her health, her father asks what she plans to do. Kanan reveals her desire to travel to the human world to personally cultivate and savor the sweet souls of young humans who are on the verge of reaching maturity. Her father finds the idea lovely, reminiscing about his own trips to the human world, even though they caused trouble with the angels. He grants her request, but asks if she has eaten with anyone lately. Kanan scoffs at the idea, insisting that fine dining is a solitary experience and that she prefers to avoid extra noise. Her father simply hopes she finds the satisfaction she is looking for. In the human world, Kanan has successfully integrated into school life. She narrates her success, explaining how she has crafted the perfect facade. She is beautiful, smart, talented, and athletically gifted. By playing the role of a model student, she has gained the trust of everyone and has even become the head of the disciplinary committee. She views the academy as her personal ranch and the students as her livestock, waiting for their souls to mature so she can feed. However, her hunger becomes too much to bear. Though she wanted to wait longer, she decides she can afford to eat one soul now. She scans the student body, looking for the right target, until she spots Yoji. His soul shines with a brilliant sheen and vitality that catches her eye immediately. She uses her telepathic powers to hypnotize him, commanding the human to come to her. Back in the empty classroom, Yoji repeats Kanan's words, asking if she is really going to devour him. Kanan, still thinking in terms of predatory dining, describes the process. She tells him she will peel back his skin and work it with her fingers until it is firm and juicy. Yoji's eyes go wide as he interprets her words in a completely sexual manner. When she mentions enjoying a taste while it is raw, Yoji assumes she is talking about raw dogging. Kanan tells him to be honored and grateful for being devoured by her. To her absolute shock, Yoji prostrates himself on the floor, thanking her and saying that nothing would make him happier. He explains that it has always been his dream to be devoured by a devilish girl like her, and he adds that her devil costume looks like something meant for a specific kind of role play. Kanan is horrified, realizing that high school boys think of nothing but sex. She wonders how her food could possibly think it can have a physical relationship with her. However, a tactical thought crosses her mind. She thinks she can use this to her advantage and steal his soul during the act. The only obstacle is that she is a complete virgin and has no idea what she is doing. Yoji is eager to begin, but Kanan panics and tells him to wait. She tries to argue that such things should only be done between people who love each other. Yoji immediately counters by saying he fell in love with her the moment he saw her. Kanan is overwhelmed by his persistence. She realizes that despite being thousands of years old, she has never even held hands with anyone. Looking at him closely, she even finds him to be her type. Yoji repeatedly professes his love, making Kanan's head spin. She tries to maintain her dignity as a devil, questioning if she should really let a lower life form be her first love. Seeing her hesitation, Yoji says he doesn't want to hurt her and suggests they try third base or second base instead. Kanan reacts with disgust, calling him a pervert. Finally, Yoji asks if they can just start by dating. Kanan agrees, thinking this is a safe compromise. Yoji is thrilled and says he will see her the next day, leaving Kanan to wonder what kind of bizarre contract she has just signed. After class, a girl named Nadeko approaches Yoji. She asks if he is free to help clean her family's shrine over the weekend. Yoji turns her down, saying he will likely be busy. She is shocked when Yoji reveals that he can't help because he now has a girlfriend. Nadeko is stunned that the quiet student managed to land an older woman. She asks what their pet names are and if they are on a first-name basis yet. In her own classroom, Kanan is looking down on the students, thinking they are all just livestock being fattened for slaughter. Her thoughts are interrupted when Yoji appears. She is startled by his sudden arrival and asks him to stop sneaking up on her. Yoji tells her that he wants her to call him by his first name. He argues that since they are dating, they shouldn't be using last names and formal titles like senpai. Kanan sees this as an opportunity to assert her dominance. She thinks he looks cute being so desperate over something as simple as a name. She tells him to listen closely and be grateful, but when she tries to say Yoji, she stumbles over the syllables. She realizes she is actually embarrassed to say it. Internally, she yells his name repeatedly to build up her courage, but when she tries to speak, she can only stammer. Yoji asks if she is embarrassed, and Kanan defensively denies it. She tells him that if he wants her to say it so badly, he has to say her name first. Yoji says Kanan without hesitation. The sound of her name sends a surge of bliss through her. Yoji gets close to her ear and repeats her name over and over. Kanan eventually slaps him for getting too carried away, calling him a brute. As she leaves, she calls him Yoji-kun and tells him he will pay for this. Later, Kanan catches a couple at school and orders them to step away from each other, citing the rules against illicit conduct. She thinks humans are just animals ruled by desire and vows to keep them on a tight leash to keep their souls pure. Yoji appears behind her again, startling her. He tells her that he wants to spend as much time as possible with her because they are lovers. He asks her where they should go to make their first time unforgettable. Kanan immediately thinks he is talking about sex and calls him a horny ape with no sense of decorum. Yoji suggests the park, which makes Kanan think of outdoor activities. When he says it would be great to relive the memory every time he passes by, Kanan rejects the idea as too embarrassing. He then suggests a movie theater or a hot spring trip, which only makes Kanan think he wants to have sex in public or share a bath. She yells at him, telling him that their first time should be in the privacy of a bedroom. Yoji takes a note, saying they will do it in his room. Kanan realizes what she said and tries to backpedal, saying she will only visit if his parents are home. Yoji tells her that fulfilling her wishes makes him excited for their first date. Kanan realizes she misunderstood him again and runs away in embarrassment. Later, Kanan is watching the students from her window, telling them to dream of being eaten by her. Yoji shows up and asks to walk home together because he is her boyfriend. Kanan tries to keep her heart from racing. She decides to put him in his place and agrees to walk with him. However, as they start walking, she stays several paces behind. Yoji asks why she won't walk beside him. Kanan claims she is using him as a meat shield in case of an assassination attempt. Yoji suggests they should walk even closer and join hands. Kanan panics, thinking that holding hands might lead to pregnancy. She is convinced he is a devil for coming up with such a scheme. Not wanting to appear indecisive, she comes up with a solution. When they walk through the street, people are shocked to see Yoji's hands tied up with a rope that Kanan holds like a leash. She tells him that their hands are now joined as he requested. Yoji tells her it feels like the best thing ever, interpreting the bondage as a sign of her intense desire to control him. Kanan realizes she has accidentally awakened a new side of him and runs away again. She is frustrated that Yoji keeps throwing her off her game. She wonders why she can still hear his voice in her head, only to realize he is actually lying down right behind her. He is scuffed up from being dragged around, but he tells her he has never had such an intense walk. He admits he has awakened to the joy of being a pet, which Kanan tells him to stop doing. Yoji asks if they can do something together in the park. Kanan expects something perverted, but they end up sitting on a bench eating croquettes from a local butcher shop. Yoji explains that he always wanted to eat snacks with his girlfriend. Kanan is surprised by the simple request. Yoji becomes incredibly passionate, explaining that he analyzed the croquettes and discovered they are made according to the golden ratio. He goes on a long rant about the potato-to-meat ratio and the golden breading. Kanan laughs, finding his passion for a simple snack to be cute. She realizes he isn't just a pervert. As she takes a bite, she is surprised to find that the food actually has flavor. She realizes that eating together might be why it tastes so good. When Yoji tells her how cute she looks while eating, Kanan gets embarrassed and calls him a lower life form once again. Deep within the devil realm, Kanan's father sits at a table piled high with food, his massive appetite never quite satisfied. Between bites, he expresses his deep concern for his daughter, wondering if she is managing well among the humans. He worries that she might accidentally eat something strange that would upset her stomach, though his paternal anxiety does not stop him from continuing his own feast. His loyal servant, Amy, notices his distress and offers to help. She promises to travel to the human world and serve Kanan with total devotion. The Devil King is relieved, trusting the delinquent-looking maid to put his mind at ease. For Kanan, the day begins long before the sun is high. To maintain her cover as a perfect human, she has infiltrated a normal family and lives as their eldest daughter. She introduces her parents and her little brother, Shotaro, all of whom greet her with genuine warmth. This domestic bliss is entirely manufactured. Kanan explains that she keeps them under a constant state of hypnosis. She repeatedly tells them that she is the eldest daughter, rewriting their memories so they believe she has always been there. Even as she enjoys the feeling of corrupting something as pure as a human family, the magic is not permanent. During breakfast, the father and mother suddenly blink, momentarily confused about when they ever had a daughter or why there is a strange girl in their house. Kanan quickly reapplies the brainwashing, staring them down until they return to their cheerful, mindless state. Once her ranch is secure, she heads out to school, feeling smug about how easily she can toy with the humans, even if a certain lower life form has been making things difficult lately. As Kanan walks to school, she begins to narrate her life as if she is being filmed for a documentary, explaining that humans are nothing more than food to her. She is startled when Yoji suddenly appears at her side. He casually claims that since he is her boyfriend, it is only natural for them to walk to school together. Kanan is flustered and demands to know how he found her secret home address. Yoji reveals that he simply asked their homeroom teacher, who was so excited by the prospect of a teenage confession that she leaked Kanan's personal information without a second thought. Determined to prove her superiority, Kanan challenges Yoji to keep up with her and takes off at a supernatural speed. She is confident that her devilish physical potential will leave any human in the dust. However, she soon hits a wall. She realizes that while she is powerful, her stamina is incredibly low. Yoji catches up to her effortlessly as she gasps for air. He tries to comfort her, but Kanan stubbornly insists she isn't tired. The tension between the two is interrupted when Amy suddenly appears on the street. Kanan is horrified, knowing that her childhood friend is a predatory succubus who loves to cause drama. She drags Amy away to a private spot, but Yoji follows them. Kanan reluctantly introduces Amy as her family's maid, but she warns Yoji to stay far away from her. Amy is immediately impressed by Yoji's soul, calling it high-quality stuff and expressing a desire to have a taste. Kanan fiercely declares that Yoji is off-limits because he is her boyfriend. Amy is shocked to learn that the thousands-year-old virgin devil finally has a partner. She begins to tease Kanan, asking how far they have gone in their relationship. Kanan shyly mentions eating croquettes and using first names, which makes Amy laugh at how childish and slow she is being. Amy suggests that Kanan should just use her body to win him over, or else Amy will take him for herself. Yoji firmly rejects Amy's advances, stating that Kanan is the only girl for him. While Kanan is happy to hear this, she still becomes jealous when Amy hugs Yoji to seek protection from Kanan's anger. The next day at school, Kanan discovers a trail of collapsed students lying in the hallways with blissfully happy expressions on their faces. She follows the carnage to the home economics room and finds Amy about to kiss a female teacher. The teacher runs away in a panic, and Kanan scolds Amy for tainting the soul she was trying to raise so carefully on her farm. Amy defends herself by saying she only goes after people she finds attractive, but Kanan points out that Amy seems to find everyone attractive. Whether it is a kind old man, a girl who shares cookies, a soft-hearted student, or a delinquent who loves romance manga, Amy only sees the good in people. Kanan realizes that Amy's popularity comes from this genuine, if sloppy, love for humanity. She feels a small sting of jealousy, but warns Amy to stop messing with the students. When Kanan asks if Amy finds Yoji attractive, Amy keeps it a secret to tease her, leaving Kanan to imagine the worst. Worried that Amy will steal her boyfriend, Kanan forces Yoji to join her on a disciplinary patrol. She claims she wants him to help her catch students who are acting inappropriately, but she really just wants to keep him under her thumb. As they walk, a girl falls nearby, and Yoji immediately helps her up and offers to carry her papers. The girl is instantly smitten. Kanan quickly steps in and tells the girl they are busy, shooing her away. This pattern repeats throughout the day. Every time a girl bumps into Yoji or needs help, he is polite and charming, and the girls fall for him on the spot. He even approaches a girl named Baraka to tell her she has something on her head, which she finds fascinating. Kanan begins to spiral, wondering if Yoji is some kind of harem protagonist. She demands to know if he understands who he belongs to, and he calmly reminds her that he is her boyfriend. Her jealousy reaches a breaking point when Yoji gets a text from his childhood friend, Nadeko. The messages use his first name and invite him over for homemade stew. Kanan is outraged, telling him not to let himself be tamed by another girl's food. She remains grumpy as they walk home together, insisting she isn't mad even though she is clearly fuming. Yoji tells her she is cute when she is jealous, which she loudly denies. To her surprise, Yoji reaches out and begins to pat her head and rub under her chin, treating her exactly like a pampered pet. Kanan feels her anger melting away as a fuzzy, blissful feeling takes over her mind. She wonders if he is using magic on her, but she finds herself unable to resist the affection. From a distance, Amy watches the scene with a smirk. She knows that if the Devil King finds out about this, there will be trouble. But for now, she decides to root for Kanan while continuing to cause her own brand of chaos in the school. The blissful peace does not last forever, and a new wave of drama quickly unfolds in the days that follow. Yoji sits down for a meal with Nadeko, unaware of the storm brewing nearby. Kanan suddenly materializes at their table, her expression dark with anger, as she demands to know the identity of the random female sitting with him. Nadeko takes immediate offense to being called a mere female. Yoji tries to diffuse the tension by introducing Nadeko. Hearing the name, Kanan realizes this is the exact childhood friend from the text messages, instantly labeling her a low-born rival who is actively plotting to tame her human livestock. Nadeko casually explains to Kanan that she and Yoji share a long history, which allows her to act completely natural around him. Before the tension can escalate, Amy suddenly appears, eagerly asking for scandalous childhood stories about their lives as ordinary humans. Nadeko shares typical childhood memories like playing at the local park and having sleepovers. The mention of a sleepover sends Kanan into a spiral of shock, which only deepens when Nadeko reveals a funny story about Yoji wetting the bed during a past childhood sleepover. Yoji quickly clarifies that he simply spilled his drink, while Nadeko sighs about how much cuter he was as a young child. Kanan's thoughts turn incredibly dark as she contemplates simply devouring both of them to end the annoyance. Nadeko suddenly feels a terrifying chill in the air and turns to Yoji, quietly asking if his companion is involved in something criminal or dangerous. Yoji proudly shatters the mystery by introducing Kanan as his official girlfriend. The revelation shocks Nadeko, who instantly connects the dots and realizes why Kanan has been glaring so intensely. Panicking over the misunderstanding, Nadeko frantically explains that their parents are close friends and that they are absolutely not on a date, gathering only to buy household supplies. Kanan completely ignores the excuses, plastering a blinding smile across her face while calmly delivering horrific threats. She promises to keep Nadeko alive while flaying her skin and mincing her flesh to feed the pigs of hell, adding that she will pulverize Nadeko's soul so thoroughly that reincarnation will become completely impossible. Nadeko trembles at the terrifying smile, begging Yoji to intervene and clear the air. However, Yoji is completely spellbound by Kanan's gorgeous expression, praising her pure look and feeling incredibly blessed to witness it. Nadeko despairs at his blind affection, realizing she must fix Kanan's mood by herself. She unleashes a torrent of desperate flattery, praising Kanan's incredible figure, looks, and flawless personality, declaring that a mere childhood friend could never hope to compete with such perfection. When Kanan remains unimpressed, Nadeko takes her flattery to the absolute limit, shouting that Kanan will be Yoji's wife. The magical word instantly hits its mark. Kanan's terrifying aura vanishes, replaced by a deep blush as she stammers in embarrassment about being called a wife. Nadeko stands amazed by how easy the devil is to manipulate. Kanan shyly tells Nadeko that it is far too early for marriage talk, but formally grants her approval by calling her a sweet talker and declaring that she actually likes her new lower life form companion. Nadeko accepts the bizarre nickname with a mixture of relief and confusion, noticing a strange, submissive feeling awakening deep within her mind. Later that night, Amy laughs about the spectacular scene she witnessed earlier, declaring that the trip to the human world is proving to be incredibly entertaining. Kanan scolds her for treating the situation like a game, but she quickly shifts the blame back to Yoji. She complains that his actions are unacceptable given their lover's contract, calling him insensitive for spending time alone with another girl. Kanan stubbornly insists that her pride as a high-ranking devil would never allow her to stoop to the level of sharing a casual meal with her own human livestock anyway. Amy notes that Kanan is starting to behave much more like a regular human woman. However, Amy drops a heavy reminder, asking if getting too romantically attached will make it difficult for Kanan to ultimately consume Yoji's soul. The reminder strikes Kanan like a physical blow, as she realizes she completely forgot her ultimate mission. Frantic to save face, Kanan quickly devises a new justification, claiming that she is simply using her feminine charms to tame Yoji so he will completely lower his mental defenses and willingly surrender his soul to her. Amy enthusiastically supports the idea, concluding that the fastest way to a human soul is directly through his heart. She commands Kanan to take the ultimate step and go on an official date. Kanan stammers in utter panic at the suggestion, admitting she has absolutely no idea how a human date operates. Amy breaks it down into simple terms, telling her to just go out somewhere, share a meal, talk, and then leap on him to devour his soul the moment they return home. Kanan fiercely rejects the aggressive ending, but Amy coaxes her further by pointing out that even the childhood friend managed a lunch outing. Refusing to let a mere human outshine the daughter of an archdevil, Kanan fires herself up and loudly vows to show Yoji the true power of a devil. The next day at school, Kanan confronts Yoji in an empty classroom, with Amy cheering her on. Yoji curiously asks what she wants to discuss. Kanan freezes up, nervously mentioning having an open schedule over the upcoming weekend. She tries to utter the word date, but her extreme anxiety takes over, and she accidentally shouts out an invitation for a wrestling duel instead. Amy is frustrated by the sudden retreat. Yoji is confused but accepts the strange offer. Desperate to correct herself and make it sound romantic, Kanan tries again, but her panicked brain blurts out a challenge to a deathmatch instead, leaving Amy wondering who is supposed to be killing whom. Kanan frantically explains that she simply wants to spend time outdoors, but her final attempt ends with her loudly suggesting a political demonstration. Amy despairs over Kanan's bizarre vocabulary. Yoji, hilariously piecing the words together, concludes that they are attending a political demonstration inside a deathmatch dueling ring, expressing immense excitement for the weekend. Fed up with his density and her own stuttering, Kanan snaps, shedding all her hesitation to loudly declare that she is asking him out on a true romantic date at 11 o'clock at the station. She warns him not to be a single second late before sprinting out of the room. Leaning against the wall outside, her heart pounds furiously in her chest as she processes what she just did. While inside the room, Yoji stands frozen, wondering if he is trapped in a beautiful dream. The morning of the date arrives, and the pair meets up at the Sky Tower, the tallest building in Japan. Yoji gazes up at the massive structure in pure awe, marveling at the incredible height, the bustling crowds, and the breathtaking view from the observation deck. Kanan observes his excitement with a smug internal smile, reminding herself that his joy will be short-lived once her psychological trap springs. She plans to weaponize the famous suspension bridge effect, knowing humans easily mistake a racing heart caused by fear for the feelings of romance. Her dark plotting is immediately derailed when Yoji turns around and gazes at her, earnestly stating that the magnificent view pales in comparison to how beautiful she looks in her casual clothes. Kanan blushes intensely, averting her eyes in confusion. Shaking off the distraction, she initiates her fear strategy. To her frustration, Yoji continuously shifts his weight and dodges her grip, keeping his distance. Kanan notices the avoidance and assumes he is secretly terrified of heights. Confident that her plan is working, she teases him about his fear before lunging forward to firmly lock her arm around his. As she does, Yoji becomes incredibly stiff and flustered. He stammers nervously, asking a rude but urgent question about whether she forgot to wear her bra today. Kanan freezes in horror as the realization hits her. In her nervousness that morning, she completely forgot to put on a bra. Trying desperately to save her dignity, Kanan forces a proud expression, lying through her teeth by claiming that going braless is a deliberate, highly advanced devil strategy designed to make his heart race. When Yoji confirms his heart is indeed pounding out of his chest, Kanan claims total victory, though she fiercely calls him a lower life form and rejects his request to press against his arm a second time. After leaving the tower, they sit down at a set of outdoor tables to recover. Kanan broods silently, deeply regretting ever asking him out after such an embarrassing blunder. Yoji breaks the silence by offering her a piece of fresh takoyaki, lifting it up and playfully telling her to open wide. Kanan initially scoffs at the cheesy human cliché, but as she stares at the food, she finds herself genuinely wanting to experience it. Swallowing her pride, she leans forward and eats the offering. The pleasant taste immediately brings a small smile to her face, though she quickly gets defensive, demanding to know why Yoji looks so incredibly self-satisfied. To reclaim control of the date, Kanan picks up a piece of food and offers to feed Yoji in return. Yoji's eyes light up with joy as he prepares to eat, but Kanan suddenly pulls the food back at the last millisecond, popping it into her own mouth instead. She teases him for thinking it would be that easy, and reminds him of his place as her livestock. Yoji doesn't mind the teasing at all, smiling as he explains that he is simply happy to see her laughing again after looking so downcast earlier. He confesses that he truly adores her smile. The compliment hits Kanan with full force. She looks away, unable to maintain eye contact as a warm sensation floods her chest. She panics internally, realizing that these intense emotions make it look like she is genuinely falling in love with her human target. Yoji eagerly offers to buy her whatever she wants next, just to keep her smiling, which only deepens Kanan's internal conflict. Looking at the boy who is so willing to please her, Kanan realizes she cannot bring herself to steal his soul just yet, resolving to put her dark mission on hold until she can fully comprehend her own heart. The next day, Amy happily looks through the photos from the date. She swoons over the image of her beloved lady out on a proper date with a boyfriend. Amy calculates the natural progression of a relationship, thinking that a kiss must come next, followed by physical intimacy. She looks out the school window to spot Kanan walking across the courtyard below. Kanan complains about the oppressive heat, noting that outdoor gym class during this time of year really works up a sweat. Yoji loudly compliments her by saying she looks cute in her gym wear. However, Kanan immediately recoils and demands that he stay away, causing Amy to look on in shock at her sudden retreat. Yoji instantly asks why she is backing away after all the love they shared, accusing her of only wanting him for his body. Kanan angrily tells him to quit spouting nonsense. She finally admits that she is ordering him to keep his distance, simply because she is dripping with sweat right now. Instead of being repulsed, Yoji's eyes light up as he declares that he actually wants to smell it. Kanan retorts that there is seriously something wrong with him, but Yoji begs her to let him sample her scent, insisting that her sweat could never smell bad because it comes from the person he loves. This confession catches Kanan off guard. She wonders if love really distorts logic in such a way, and hesitantly tells him to go ahead and verify his theory. Yoji kneels down to take a sniff, leaving Kanan bewildered by how she ended up in such a disgraceful position. She realizes that forcing her junior to kneel and sniff her makes her look like the true pervert. Yoji then starts to comment on what she smells like, but a mortified Kanan quickly cuts him off, telling him he absolutely does not need to say it out loud. Because of her outburst, she drops her towel to the ground. Yoji quickly offers his own towel as a replacement. Kanan accepts it, but when she presses the fabric to her face, she notices a citrus-like scent. Realizing this is Yoji's personal aroma, she finds it calming and thinks to herself that she could happily sniff it forever. She instantly snaps out of it, reprimanding herself for thinking like a pervert. Watching the awkward exchange, Amy realizes that at this incredibly slow pace, it will take 5,000 years before they even share a simple kiss. Resolving to act as their personal Cupid, Amy prepares a new plan. A short while later, Kanan and Yoji walk together through the school corridors. Kanan mentions that her hearing seems to be getting worse. She explains that while she normally picks up every single sound across the entire school with her acute devil ears, she can currently barely hear 100 meters away. Yoji praises her sharp ears, but suddenly a rhythmic whisper echoes from a short distance away, repeating the words ear cleaning. Kanan wonders if she is losing her mind and hearing things, but Yoji takes the whispered advice literally. He immediately pulls Kanan down onto his lap, telling her to leave everything to him because he knows exactly what he is doing. Kanan blushes at the sudden head-on lap position, but she quickly convinces herself that having a lower life form serve her is exactly what she deserves as a superior devil. She formally grants him permission to touch her and tells him to begin. When Yoji starts cleaning her ear, Kanan shivers as an intense wave of pleasure races up her spine. She remembers that her devil ears are highly sensitive because they are built to pick up sounds across the entire campus. Every gentle movement of the tool feels like it is rubbing precisely where her nerve bundles are concentrated. Outside the room, Amy peeks in and cheers Yoji on, urging the human to stir up her lady's insides and make her cry. Yoji, completely oblivious to Kanan's internal crisis, softly remarks on how pretty and cute her pointed ears are. Kanan then reaches her limit, her mind going blank as she realizes with horror that if he pushes her any further, she will completely fall for him. Somehow, she manages to endure the ordeal. When Yoji finishes and asks if it felt good, Kanan puts up her usual aloof front, scoffing that it was not particularly impressive. Refusing to accept defeat, a fired-up Yoji declares he will put even more effort into her other ear. Meanwhile, Nade walks down the hallway. Suddenly, she stops in her tracks as scandalous cries echo through the door. Inside, Kanan screams for Yoji to stop and pull it out. She yells at the lower life form not to go so deep before slamming the door open to escape, loudly exclaiming that his technique is simply too good. Nade stands frozen in shock, whispering their names in bewilderment. Amy laments that the couple only needed one more push, immediately pivoting to Plan B. Later that day, Amy brings a large inflatable pool right into the school building, lounging inside it in a swimsuit. She invites Kanan to join her to cool off. Just then, Yoji enters the room to offer his assistance. Kanan is confused since she never requested his help, but Amy welcomes him warmly. Yoji immediately reacts with excitement at the sight of a swimsuited maid. Amy asks him if he wants to have some fun, turning to ask Kanan why she does not put on a swimsuit as well. Kanan huffs, claiming a noble woman like herself could never wear such a shameful outfit. However, the moment Yoji enthusiastically begins snapping photos of Amy, Kanan's jealousy flares. Amy teases Kanan that she has Yoji's eyes all to herself, prompting Kanan to change into a tight school swimsuit. She demands that Yoji look over at her instead, granting him permission to gaze upon her as a reward. But as Yoji stares intently, she feels as if his eyes are physically touching her breasts, butt, and thighs. Blushing furiously, she calls him a pervert. She demands that he leave immediately. As Yoji backpedals, he suddenly slips into the pool. Kanan tries to check if he is okay, but she loses her footing as well, crashing directly on top of him inside the pool. They freeze in an incredibly close position. Amy immediately snaps photos of the accidental embrace, urging them to take advantage of the situation and keep going. Both Kanan and Yoji scream in unison that there is no way they are doing that. On another day, Kanan informs Yoji that it is time for them to go on their usual school patrol. Watching from afar, Amy resolves to force physical contact this time, vowing not to stop until they finally share a kiss. She decides to sick a small dog on them to scare them into each other's arms, but the plan backfires horribly when the dog sprints forward and bites Yoji instead. Yoji yells in pain while shielding Kanan, prompting Kanan to ask if he is all right, while Amy panics that the dog went too far. After many more failed setups, a frustrated Amy decides to resort to pure physical force. She brings a massive high jump mat and drops it directly on top of them, squashing them tightly together underneath it. Amy proudly proclaims that they are now perfectly snug, asking if they are feeling horny yet. Kanan furiously demands that Amy stop this nonsense at once, while Yoji groans that he cannot hold up the weight of the mat much longer. Amy exacerbates the situation by jumping onto the mat and stomping down, telling Kanan to just pretend it is an accident and give him a smooch. As their noses touch, Kanan finally loses her temper and uses her devil powers to blast Amy through the air. Kanan stands over a battered Amy, telling her she can use her last words to explain herself. Amy proudly states on her honor as a succubus that she will never give up until they are in a physical relationship. Back in the disciplinary committee room, Amy suddenly questions if her lady simply lacks any natural female charm, noting how disappointing it is that the human never tried to lay a finger on her despite all the perfect opportunities. Kanan defensively retorts that she simply keeps her guard up at all times, bragging that no man could ever resist her given the slightest opening. Amy challenges her to put that theory to the test. Sometime later, Yoji enters the room to ask Kanan to walk home together, only to find her fast asleep on the couch. But in reality, Kanan is fully awake, keeping her guard down on purpose to dare Yoji to lose his rationality and make a move. But Yoji simply takes off his own uniform shirt and carefully drapes it over her like a blanket. Kanan fumes internally at his gentlemanly behavior, wondering how he can maintain his composure with her beauty right in front of him. To provoke him, she begins to shift and pose provocatively on the couch to accentuate her figure. The strategy works instantly. Yoji's eyes widen as he gasps at the sight of her heavy breasts. But instead of touching her, Yoji starts doing rapid squats to burn off his pent-up lust. Kanan is baffled by his bizarre workout routine, and Amy looks on in disbelief as the human uses physical training as an outlet for his desires. Believing he never actually touched her because she lacks any real appeal, Kanan spirals into deep despair. She sadly concludes that Amy was right all along, viewing herself as a pathetic devil who cannot even tempt a single high school boy. Just then, Yoji reaches down to gently stroke Kanan's cheek. He instantly panics at his own bold action and flees the room in a rush. Kanan happily calls Yoji a bad boy and a lower life form, giggling over how easily he succumbed to her charms after all.